She just won Olympic gold. The crowd was on its feet. The whole country was celebrating. After 24 long years, America finally had its women's figure skating champion again. And Alysa Liu, fresh off the ice, medal still warm around her neck, is already thinking about something else entirely. Not the next skating season. Not the next world championship. A surfboard. That's right. The girl who just made history on ice wants to learn how to ride waves. And honestly, once you hear why, it makes complete sense. Because this isn't just about surfing. This is about a feeling that took her away from skating once, brought her all the way back, and is now pulling her somewhere brand new. A feeling called the glide. But before we get there, let's talk about who Alysa Liu actually is. Because if you don't know her story, you're missing everything. Alysa Liu has been on skates since she was 5 years old. 5. At an age when most kids are still figuring out how to tie their shoes, she was already gliding across ice with a focus that coaches rarely see in athletes twice her age. Skating wasn't just something she did. It was everything she knew. By the time she was a teenager, the entire figure skating world had its eyes on her. She was the rising star. The one everyone pointed to and said, that girl is going to the Olympics. And she did. In 2022, at just 16 years old, Alysa Liu competed at the Beijing Winter Games. She stood on that ice, representing her country, doing what she had trained her entire life to do. And then she quit. Just like that. No farewell tour. No emotional goodbye skate in front of a home crowd. She just stepped away. Retired. At 16. The skating world was stunned. Her fans were confused. Everyone had the same question. Why would someone with that much talent, that much potential, walk away at the exact moment her career was supposed to take off? The answer is simpler and sadder than most people expected. She was exhausted. Not physically. Deeper than that. I really had nothing going on with my life, she later told the Associated Press. Just training. That one sentence tells you everything. 11 years of early mornings. 11 years of weekends on the ice while other kids were at birthday parties. 11 years of her entire identity being wrapped up in one single sport. She didn't want to quit skating because she stopped loving it. She quit because she had forgotten what it felt like to love anything, including herself. So she walked away. And for the first time in her life, Alysa Liu got to just be a regular person. Now here's where the story takes a turn nobody saw coming. It's 2024. Alysa is 2 years into her retirement. She's living her normal life. No coaches, no competitions, no pressure. Just an 18-year-old girl finally getting to breathe. And she goes on a ski trip. That's it. That's the whole turning point. Not a dramatic phone call from a legendary coach. Not a tearful moment watching old competition footage. Not some grand sign from the universe. Just a ski trip. She straps on her boots, gets on the mountain, pushes off, and the moment she starts moving down that slope, something hits her. The glide. That specific, almost impossible to describe sensation where your body stops fighting and starts flowing. Where momentum takes over and you're not pushing anymore, you're just moving. Effortlessly. Like the ground is carrying you forward. For Alysa, that feeling was like a memory unlocking. Because that's exactly what skating felt like. Not the competitions. Not the pressure. Not the judges holding up scorecards. Just the raw, pure, physical joy of gliding. The very first thing that made 5-year-old Alysa fall in love with the ice in the first place. One ski run. That's all it took. She came home from that trip and made a decision. She was going back. And when Alysa Liu comes back, she doesn't tiptoe back in. Within a year of returning to training, she was competing at the 2025 World Championships. She won gold. Then she won gold as part of a team event. Then she won another solo gold at a separate competition. 3 golds. In her comeback year. After a 2-year break. At 19 years old. The girl everyone thought had walked away forever was not just back. She was better. More focused. More present. More herself on the ice than she had ever been before. And the reason is actually beautiful when you think about it. Before, skating was all she had. It was her entire identity, which meant every fall, every missed jump, Every low score felt like a personal failure. The stakes were suffocating. But now, she had perspective. She knew what it felt like to step away. She knew life existed beyond the rink. And that knowledge, that freedom, it completely changed how she performed. She wasn't skating to survive anymore. She was skating because she genuinely wanted to be there. And audiences felt every single bit of that difference. February 2026. Milan, Italy. The Winter Olympics. Alysa Liu steps onto the ice for the women's singles final. And she delivers a performance that the entire arena will remember for the rest of their lives. She wins gold. With that single skate, she ends 24 years of waiting for American women in figure skating. The last time the U.S. had won this title was Sarah Hughes back in 2002. An entire generation of skaters had tried and come close, but nobody had crossed that line. Until Alysa. But here's what makes her different from every other champion you've ever seen. She doesn't talk about that gold medal like it defines her. Most athletes spend years saying things like, "I sacrificed everything for this moment." And maybe they did. But Alysa, she talks about her win the way you talk about a beautiful day, with warmth and gratitude, but without desperation. "My goal is always to share my story and to connect with people," she told People magazine. "To have my experiences, turn them into a performance, and get people to feel something." 20 years old, Olympic gold medalist. And still, her focus is on connection over conquest. That's not something you can fake. That comes from someone who genuinely stepped away, found herself, and came back for the right reasons. And if you really want to understand who Alysa Liu is as a person, don't look at her on the podium. Look at what she says she loved most about the Milan Olympics. It wasn't the competition. It wasn't standing on that podium with gold around her neck. It wasn't even the roar of the crowd when her scores came up. It was living in the Team USA dorm. It felt like college, she told People. Getting to do watch parties with the other athletes, eating with them, running to catch the bus with them. It was all really fun. Read that again. This is a girl who spent her entire childhood with almost zero social life. Just training, day after day, year after year. And the thing that made the Olympics feel magical to her wasn't the gold medal. It was eating dinner with her teammates. It was rushing to catch a bus together. It was the ordinary, chaotic, joyful mess of being a 20-year-old surrounded by other people her age who understood exactly what she'd given up to be there. That's what burnout looks like when it heals. That's what coming back for the right reasons actually feels like. So, she's home now, back in California. Olympic gold medalist. 20 years old. Entire future ahead of her. And she wants to surf. "I heard that surfing was really similar to skating and skiing," she told People. "In the way that we glide. There's not many activities in life where you feel the glide, and I recently heard surfing was one of them. So I really want to try that out." And now, finally, that word means everything. The glide. Think about the full journey that word has taken in Alysa's life. It started on an ice rink at age 5. A little girl discovering for the first time what it felt like to just move across a surface without effort. It almost disappeared entirely when burnout swallowed everything that made skating feel magical. It came back on a ski slope in 2024. One unexpected run down a mountain that cracked her heart back open. Carried her all the way to Olympic gold in Milan. And now it's pointing her toward the ocean. She's not chasing another title. She's not training for the next competition. She's following a feeling. The same feeling that has guided her entire life without her even realizing it. The glide doesn't care about gold medals. It just wants to keep moving. And so does Alysa Liu. Here's the thing about Alysa's story that I can't stop thinking about. She didn't find her way back to greatness by pushing harder. She found it by letting go. By going skiing. By feeling something she hadn't felt in years. By trusting that a single moment of joy could mean more than a decade of discipline. And now, on the other side of an Olympic gold medal, she's doing it again. Not chasing the next big thing. Just following what feels good. What feels like her. A surfboard. Some waves. That feeling of gliding in a whole new world. If there's one thing Alysa Liu has taught us, it's this. Sometimes the path back to everything you love starts with something as simple as a day off. So go take yours.